everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Emily. I'm a mom who loves home decor, thrifting, and a good DIY project. Today we are making a macrame hanging basket. Now, what I love about this project is that it's very multifaceted. So I'm going to be using this hanging basket as a plant hanger, but you could also use it as a fruit basket in your kitchen with a few small modifications. You could, maybe this one's out there. I don't actually have a cat, but I think you could be able to use this as a cat bed with like a little pillow inside of it, or even in a kid's room, you could use it for some toys or stuffed animals, but I'm going to be using it as a plant hanger. One really exciting thing about this project is that I am launching a macrame guide that will accompany this video. So if you are looking for a detailed supply list, all the cord lengths and measurements and numbers, and even the finished product length and height, all those extra details will be in my macrame guide so that you can make this without any issues. It will be accompanying this video. This video will show you the design, how to put it all together, all of that. So if you are interested in purchasing the guide, it is only a few dollars. You can head over to my website, emilyfaithblog.com. I of course will link that in the description box. As always, I so appreciate your support. It helps me continue making these macrame tutorials for you all. And for those that are interested in the macrame cord that I'm using, I get mine off of Amazon. It's 4mm macrame cord. I will link that as well in the description box. The last thing I want to say is don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, click that subscribe button, turn on those bell notifications, and of course follow me on Instagram at emilyfaith22. The first step is to put your cords through your wooden hoop, and it is just placed on there. You could tie it in a knot, or if you know how to do a gathering knot, I will quickly show you, but I do go more in depth in another video. You're going to kind of make a little V. Doesn't even need to be very big. It's kind of like a little V with the end sticking up. Then kind of hold it in place and begin wrapping around. Once you get to the end of it, place it into the loop and then pull this cord up. Then it's tucked in it, and then just trim off your excess. Now we are going to separate our cords. If you have my guide, you will know the lengths of everything, but you are going to separate them into groupings of 4. 2 of the cords in each group will be your long cord, and 2 of the cords will be your short cords. Make sure you pay attention when you are grabbing the groupings as to what lengths you are grabbing. Again, too short, too long. Now that I have everything separated into my groups of 4, sorry, there's so many cords it's hard to show you guys, but when you're working in your grouping of 4, make sure that your 2 shorter cords are in the middle and your 2 longer cords are on the outside. We are going to be doing square knots. We are going to be using these as our hanging cords to hold up the basket. So again, for each group, make sure that your shorter cords are in the middle. Now, I'm not going to do anything fancy. For each one of these, I am going to be tying a whole bunch of square knots. I went ahead and tied 8 square knots on each strand. Now I'm going to drop down 15 inches and just leave it open. If you guys want to add more square knots, you can, but you may need to make your cords a little longer. Square knots use up a lot of cord. Once you drop down the 15 inches, you are going to tie 2 square knots on each one. Now, the tricky thing with this is you want to try your best to make them the exact same height, because if you don't, your hoop is going to be off balanced. So if you need to redo them, that's fine, but try and make them the exact same height and tie 2 square knots. The next step is to take your hoop. Now I have already attached all of my cords to my hoop. I was getting ahead of myself. You should wait. Wait to attach your cords until after everything is attached. It's just gonna make it easier. Right now, this thing is like way heavy and it's hard to maneuver. To attach your hanging cords to your hoop, we are going to do a square knot. So I'm going to try my best to show you this, but it's kind of tricky because it's heavy. To do this, I put 2 cords, the 2 outside cords behind it, the 2 middle cords in front of it, and then simply tie a square knot around it. It's gonna be hard to show you, but I hope that you guys can understand. So just tie it tight. My guide, then you will know how many cords need to go between each hanging strand. Show you again for the last one. Make sure you put 2 cords behind it. I don't think it really matters like if the front ones or the middle ones go in the back, but make sure that the side ones go in the back or the front and the middle ones go in the opposite spot. Then tie your square knot around it. Now would be the time where you go and attach each of your cords to your hoop. To do this, you find the middle of your cord, place it behind, loop your 2 cords through, and just do this all the way around. Now we are going to start with square knots all the way around because our hanging cords have a square knot, so we're just going to keep it uniform. To do this, we are going to work in groupings of 4. Square knots all the way around the top, we are going to do our second row of square knots combining each square knot. So you take 2 cords from the one side, 2 cords from the other, and tie them together to make a square knot. We're going to give a little space between each one just to make sure that it doesn't pull them too close together. Our next thing we're going to do is work in these 2 groups of 4, and we are going to be making an X using our double half hitch. To do this, you take your far left cord and bring it down halfway, tying the double half hitch. Gone halfway, go on your far right side, and we're going to do the same thing, meeting in the middle. This time, instead of stopping, we're going to continue with this cord all the way down across the other 4 cords, starting by connecting the 2 middle ones. And this is just the same double half hitch knot we've been doing. Continue in that diagonal pattern. Now you're going to take that middle cord and bring it to the other side to complete this X. And there you have an X. So we are going to be doing this all the way around. Our X's all the way around, what we're going to do is we're going to continue them with a second row of X's. And to do this, what you do is you take the bottom of one of the X's and we are going to string it halfway across the next X. Does this make sense? So we just continue it using our double half hitch. So once you've gone halfway, it will look like one long line. And now we're gonna just continue it to the other side, only halfway through that one, halfway through that X. So just split the other X in 2, and then that's how you know how far to go. So grab that cord there and go across. And that is how it's going to look. Now you can move on to the next one. So start at the end and bring it down to the other side. Now that we have finished our sort of double X's, we are going to go and add 2 rows of square knots beneath it, just like we did up top. I wanted to mention that I didn't end up connecting my X's with a double half hitch. I may have shown that I did, but you're gonna leave them open, and then we are going to connect them with a square knot. Working in the center of your X, make sure you don't tighten your square knot all the way up to the top, or this won't be straight. So make sure you leave that little gap so that it lines up evenly with the ones next to it. Now that one row is complete, we're going to move on to our second row, combining our square knots again. Finished the full design. If yours is bowing in a little bit, feel free to just go on the inside and stretch it out, and that should make it lay flat. Now we are going to take our second little ring and attach it the same way we did at the top. I have my assistant helping me hold up the ring. You guys can see it right here. So what we're going to do is take 2 cords from one square knot, 2 cords from the other, just like we usually do. And we're going to put 2 of the cords behind the hoop. It actually doesn't matter if you do the front ones or the side ones. And then we are going to tie a square knot around the hoop. So we have one. I'm going to just flip it around and tie one on the other side so that it stays up. So again, take 2 cords from one square knot, 2 cords from the other, then put 2 to the back. And then once you have your 4, you're going to tie the knot. Okay. Now let's try another one on the other side to secure it. Now we just are going to continue tying all the way around. Now that our ring is completely attached, it is fully secured in there. And again, if your macrame is bowing, you can always just push it out a little bit. For this next part, you can really decide what you would prefer. If you are wanting to use this actually in a kitchen for a fruit basket or something like that, I suggest trying to make this as tight as possible, bringing them all together and tying something like really tight, almost so that this basket would lay flat. But if you're using it for a plant, I did originally design this with a plant in mind, and then I realized, hey, this can totally be used as a kitchen fruit basket as well. If you're designing it for a plant, I don't think you need it that tight. So I am going to do it like a little bit looser. We are going to do the gathering knot. Now, I'm gonna try it out because I really want to make sure it's super tight, and this is quite a lot of cords. I went ahead and trimmed off the little excess part. Because this plant hanger is quite a grandiose plant hanger, I feel like it's really a statement in and of itself. I decided to leave quite a bit of excess cord. This is probably about 15 inches of cord hanging down at the bottom. I wanted to show you, for those who do use my guide, how much I ended up cutting off. This was the amount that I cut off. I just chose to cut at my shortest cord length, so this is all that I technically wasted, for those people who constantly get on me about wasting cord. The first thing I want to mention is that the length of a basket is really hard to guess because ceiling heights are so different. We live in a basement suite, so this plant hanger is actually a little long for our basement. I feel like in a lot of homes with an average ceiling height, this basket would be perfect. You could also be wanting it in your kitchen and want it way shorter. So anyways, I just want to quickly say that one way that you can easily adjust the length of your macrame is, if you want it shorter, you can add more square knots. The more square knots you add, the shorter the cords and the piece will get. You can also choose to do a shorter or bigger gap in between the square knots, and that would adjust the height. And then lastly, if you want a really long plant hanger, then you could just do 1, 2, or 3 square knots and have a really long gap, make a very long hanging basket for you guys. So that's just a simple tip if you're looking to adjust the height of your plant hanger. And again, you can check out the description box for the link to my website to get the guide that will have the actual length of mine and all those details, so that you could adjust yours accordingly, or just make it exactly as mine is, and you can see if that height works well for you. This project was so fun to make. Here is how it turned out. so curious as to what most of you would like to use this hanging basket for. I wonder if you guys will like it as a plant hanger, which is how I'm using it, or maybe a fruit basket. I just love that it's multifaceted. Comment down below what you think you would use it for. And of course, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up so as you can subscribe for more of my everyday life. Follow me on Instagram at EmilyFaith22. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye!